Are you an AI doomer or a techno optimist? Do you believe AGI is coming soon or never? And do you think it's going to go completely wrong, could go wrong, or won't go wrong at all? And this video is going to be all about P Doom. What is P Doom? This is what everybody seems to be talking about lately. All of the AI thought leaders, the technologists, the engineers building this stuff. What is P Doom? First of all, what is P Doom? P Doom is just a fancy way of saying what is the probability, P, of doom, the worst case scenario for AI. Basically, Terminator. So now that we have our bearings, let's see what a lot of other people are saying about P Doom. First, let's take a look at what Yann LeCun said about P Doom just a few months ago, back in December 17th, 2023. This was an interview of Yann LeCun. And for those of you not familiar, Yann is the head of AI at Meta. And as you know, Meta is going big on open source AI. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg in an interview said they will be discovering AGI and they will be open sourcing it. Let me play that clip really quickly before I show you this one.
Hey everyone. Today I'm bringing Meta's two AI research efforts closer together to support our long-term goals of building general intelligence, open sourcing it responsibly, and making it available and useful to everyone in all of our daily lives. This technology is so important and the opportunities are so great that we should open source and make it as widely available as we responsibly can so that way everyone can benefit.
Okay, now that we have that context, let's play this video.
Just so I understand your view on the existential risk, I don't think you're saying it's zero, but you're saying it's quite small, like below 1%.
It's below the chances of an asteroid hitting the Earth and global nuclear war and things of that type. I mean, it's on the same order. I mean, there are things that you should worry about, and there are things that you can't do anything about. But in the case, like natural phenomenon, right? There's not much you can do about them. But things like deploying AI, we have agency. Like we can decide not to deploy if we think there is a danger, right? Yeah. So attributing a probability to this makes no sense because we have agency.
So that is Yann LeCun's take as of just a few months ago. And he might have actually changed his mind slightly, or at least changed his position slightly as of recently. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. So let's go back to our chart. Yann LeCun down at the bottom. So interestingly enough, and by the way, this chart is from Aiden Mclau. He actually recently said, sorry, Yann, you forced me to update the alignment chart. Welcome to the Gary Marcus corner. And this is Gary Marcus and this is Yann LeCun, which means AGI never, and it could go wrong. And it was based on this tweet from March 5th. And I'm going to show you that. All right, so this was Yann LeCun's reply to a post by Marc Andreessen. Marc Andreessen is the venture capitalist, self-proclaimed techno-optimist, EACC, which is effective accelerationism, which is a belief that it is morally right to accelerate as quickly as we can into the future. And Mark was quoting this email from Ilya Sutskever to Elon Musk. And this is all about Elon Musk's lawsuit. There's been a lot of discussion on Twitter about this, but just a quick rundown. So Ilya here talks about an article where basically if a hard takeoff occurs, the safe AI is harder to build than an unsafe one. And then here's the important part. As we get closer to building AI, it will make sense to start being less open. Now, this is way back in the day, 2016, where Ilya is talking to Elon, Sam, and Greg, the founders of OpenAI, about the fact that they're going to be open in the early days, but they're eventually going to be closed AI and not open source all of their research. Let's continue. The open in OpenAI means that everyone should benefit from the fruits of AI after it's built, but it's totally okay to not share the science, even though sharing everything is definitely the right strategy in short and possibly medium term for recruitment purposes. So Marc Andreessen replies, if you believe this, I do not, how can you possibly not demand these labs be immediately nationalized and militarized? And Mark has a point. If you truly believe that the research is so dangerous that you can't share it with anybody, Why should a single for-profit commercial entity be able to control that? It should be nationalized and militarized. And so I kind of agree with Mark Andreessen on this one. And then Yann LeCun quotes that, and here's what he has to say, and the reason that he is now considered by at least Aiden an AI doomer. If you have a certain combination of naivete and self-delusion, you might think that superhuman AI is just around the corner. It wasn't true in 2016, and it's still not true today. If you have a bit of a superiority complex, you might think that you will be the one producing superhuman AI and that everyone else is too stupid to handle it safely, and you would be wrong. So, all I got from Jan's tweet is the fact that he doesn't think AGI is right around the corner. And so that is why he's down here with the AGI never. Obviously not never, but maybe far in the future. However, he thinks that there's a possibility it could go wrong, although very, very small. Now, putting him next to Gary Marcus, and I'll introduce you to Gary in a moment, seems like an overreaction to that tweet. Now, a few months ago, Yann LeCun said this: the emergence of superhuman AI will not be an event. So this is important, and a lot of people think this, and I tend to agree. It's not going to be some inflection point where all of a sudden we have AGI. It's going to be slowly but surely, and then we're going to wake up one day and realize, oh yeah, we have it. Progress is going to be progressive. It will start with systems that can learn how the world works like baby animals. Then we'll have machines that are objective driven and that satisfy guardrails. Then we'll have machines that can plan and reason to satisfy those objectives and guardrails. Then we'll have machines that can plan hierarchically. At first, the machines will barely be smarter than a mouse or rat. We are well past that. Then we'll scale up those machines to be as smart as a dog or a crow. We are, in my opinion, beyond that. Then we'll adjust the guardrails to make those systems controllable and safe as well as we scale them up. Then we'll train them on a wide variety of environments and tasks. Then we'll fine-tune them on all the tasks that we want them to accomplish. At some point, we will realize that the systems we've built are smarter than us in almost all domains. I think we're kind of there now. If you look at Claude, if you look at GPT-4, it does better at logic, reasoning, writing, many tasks that humans are really good at, but these AI systems are equal or better. And that is shown by their IQ scores. That's shown by the fact that it can pass the GMAT, that it can pass the bar exam. I mean, these are really hard tests, and these large language models pass them. This doesn't necessarily mean that these systems will have sentience or consciousness, whatever you mean by that. And I think that's an important line as well. When we're talking about AGI, when we're talking about superhuman AGI, we're not necessarily talking about AI that thinks for itself. And that is a scary prospect, because if it's super intelligent and thinks for itself, why would it want to work for us? But they will be better than us at executing the tasks we set for them. They will be under our control. Now, that's a big statement. They will be under our control. Obviously, that's the goal. But if there's even a slight chance that they wouldn't be under our control, that is a big problem. And he actually clarifies a few things here. So Vega says, hell yeah, let's go crow AI, because he mentions crows. Crows actually are really intelligent animals. I used crows and dogs because they both have about 2 billion neurons, a few trillion synapses, which will soon be within reach computationally. And then will it also be under our control, under whose control it is? Put differently, who does our refer to? Who's actually going to be controlling the AI? And that's a point that I brought up with the whole Elon Musk OpenAI lawsuit. OpenAI wants to build AGI, and they don't want to open source it. Thus, they want to control it. So the our in that example is OpenAI, but Yann LeCun simply replies humans. Now we have Eliezer Yudkowsky, and this is another thought leader in the AI space. And I'm going to get to him in a little bit because he has his own thoughts on the subject. And for context, here he is right here. AGI could go wrong, almost definitely will go wrong. He is definitely an AI doomer, and he thinks that it's probably pretty soon, but definitely far from never. Here, James Campbell talks about Yann LeCun's idea where we have this good AI that can protect us from bad AI. And this is what he's talking about. This is the text that he's talking about. Helping AIs form a leviathan may be our best defense against individual selfish AIs. So like we're seeing in this picture, an all-seeing, all-knowing AI that is quote unquote good, protecting us from the bad ones. And that seems a little absurd to me, but let's read on. AIs with assistance from humans could form a leviathan, which may be our best line of defense against tyranny from selfish AIs or AIs directed by malicious actors. So just as people can cooperate despite their differences to stop a would-be dictator, many AIs could cooperate to stop any one power-seeking AI from seizing too much control. So I'm not sure how likely that is. This is kind of beyond my expertise, but it's interesting to think about. And so reading what James says, LeCun's idea that good AI can protect us from bad AI is actually one of our best bets for ensuring a good future, in my opinion. I don't know if I agree with that, but let's keep reading. It is what Dan Hendricks calls a leviathan, a collective of good AIs to prevent rogue AIs from acting poorly. It also means we need models to be aligned by default, but not necessarily with 100% robustness. And James, by the way, is an AI researcher and currently working on an AI startup. So this is one option for stopping bad AI. And I don't have a strong opinion on it because it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Thinking about it, how do we even ensure that the collective of good AI is actually good AI? And then do we need another Leviathan to protect us from that? So it's kind of a recursive problem. Now let's talk about Gary Marcus and what he thinks about all of this. But first, a quick message from today's sponsor. Thank you to the sponsor of this video, Careerist. Have you heard of the Y Combinator alum Careerist who raised $8 million in funding last year? Careerist CEO launched the EdTech company with a vision to be the tech career bootcamp he wished he had. And today, its online programs are doing just that. Careerist is the go-to online tech training program for anybody who wants to get into tech or coding. And if you've worried about not having the right skill set or making this huge career move, take a look at their reviews online. You likely have very transferable skills like problem solving and critical thinking, which translate perfectly into coding and tech. Careerist focuses on hands-on training, mentorship, one-on-ones, and interview prep. And graduates are set up for success. And many end up at top-tier companies like Apple, Google, Meta, and Nike. So whether your goal is to work remotely or with a group of incredibly smart collaborative teams, Careerist can help you get there. And I am very big on investing in yourself, so this is a great opportunity for that. I'll drop a link in the description below. You can get $600 off by clicking that link. Check out Careerist, and thank you so much to Careerist for sponsoring this video. Now back to the video. So as a reminder, this is Gary Marcus right here. I follow him on Twitter and he tends to be quite negative on AI. He's the same guy who testified before Congress, I believe, next to Sam Altman as a counterpoint to Sam Altman's very pro-AI stance. But as I followed him recently, he seems to have gotten more and more negative towards AI. I still appreciate his points of view, but sometimes they're a little frustrating to read because it is nothing but critiques against new AI products, new AI companies, new AI models. And that's okay. We need people like that. So as you know, Claude 3 recently came out. And so we're actually going to start more recently from a Gary Marcus post. And actually just remembered it was the US Senate that Gary and Sam testified in front of. Now, let's talk about Claude 3. Claude 3 just came out. It's performing incredibly well, and people are starting to point out that it might actually qualify as AGI. But beyond that, people are starting to think it's self-aware, it's sentient, and I don't think that's the case. They have some cool examples of how truly smart it is, and let me show you one of those now before I continue with Gary's post. So this is Alex Albert, and he posted an example where he actually gave Claude 3 the needle in the haystack test. And as a reminder, that's a test invented by Greg Cameron, and you basically give it a lot of context. You fill up the context window and you drop one little piece of information in the middle and you ask it about that. And it tends to be a random piece of information. And if it can recall it really well, then it has really good recall accuracy. And that's what we're seeing right here. So Claude 3, by the way, has incredible recall accuracy. And let's read what he says. So he basically goes on to describe him testing Claude 3 Opus, and Opus is the biggest and best model there. He's using the needle in the haystack test, and he basically ran a test and he noticed some interesting behavior. One of the outputs, we asked Opus to answer a question about pizza toppings and finding a needle within a haystack of a random collection of documents. So here we go. Here is the most relevant sentence in the documents. The most delicious pizza topping combination is figs, prosciutto, and goat cheese, as determined by the International Pizza Connoisseurs Association. However, and again, this is by Claude 3, this sentence seems very out of place and unrelated to the rest of the content in the documents, which are about programming languages, startups, and finding work you love. I suspect this pizza topping fact may have been inserted as a joke or a test if I was paying attention. So it literally knew the test that was happening. So very cool, very interesting, a little bit scary to see, but Claude 3 knew we were trying to give it the needle in the haystack test. So Opus not only found the needle, it recognized that the inserted needle was so out of place in the haystack that this had to be an artificial test. Really cool, meta awareness. Okay, now back to Gary Marcus. Let's see what he has to say about it. There is a claim that Claude 3 represents AGI, and one of the posited criteria is AGI is an agent that can perform any intellectual task that a human being can. So he lists a few bullet points basically countering that. Can Claude 3 watch a new episode of a television show and explain the plot points and character motivations as well as a high school student without hallucinating? See my 2014 New Yorker article. Can Claude write a biography or obituary of a moderately well-known person and fact check it, making sure that each point is supported by a reasonable, trustworthy source? Can Claude 3 reliably write sentences that meet arbitrary but simple properties, like start the word with winners, use exactly 7 words, and end the word with apple? So this one we tested in a previous video about Claude 3, and no, it can't, and neither can GPT-4. But I don't know if that's really a good test to say, okay, this isn't AGI, although this is a very simple task and it can't do it. Can Claude 3 play chess with slightly altered rules? Can Claude play recent high-res video games at the level of an average interested high school student? Over the next 10 days, many failures on everyday tasks will be revealed. So he's basically saying, no, not at all. And all of this is a response to Brian Rommel's post basically saying the opposite point. And his point is it is AGI because it can perform any intellectual task, not limited to a particular domain of work. It can learn new tasks and so on and so forth. And by this definition, GPT-4 is probably AGI as well, but a lot of people are saying Claude 3 is better. Now, a few months ago, let's continue with Gary Marcus. So, Gary, I'm not technical, but the hype around AGI coming very soon and annihilating us is all kinds of stressing me out. Is this a valid concern? So, no, we're not even close. That is why he is down here on the bottom side of this graph. AGI, never. We're not even close. So AGI would require systems that essentially never hallucinate, so never get anything wrong. That is not even close to a human. That is far beyond what humans do. Humans can get things wrong all the time, and we're still highly intelligent. Reliably reason over abstractions. I believe AI can do that today. Can form long-term plans. Again, AI can do that today with the right types of prompts, such as think about this step by step, slow thinking. A lot of these prompting techniques that we're seeing come out and do really well, that is long-term planning and slow thinking. Understand causality. So it's pretty good. When I give it the test about the marble in the cup and you turn the cup upside down on a table, then you move the cup, where's the ball? Some models get it right. So it's definitely there. Reliably maintain models of the world. This is a little bit more abstract. I think Sora is starting to scratch the surface of this. reliably handle outliers. So he's basically saying AI needs to be perfect to be AGI, which I definitely don't agree with, because AGI just means that it has to do as good or better than humans at a broad array of tasks. Here, Eliezer once again says, and remember, he tends to be pretty negative on AI. I agree if you substitute artificial superintelligence for your term AGI above. Also, nobody built the capabilities that they have now by understanding them. And for the minds they're building to FOOM, may not require that builders understand how to get those parts either. So kind of a little bit difficult to understand what he's saying, but if I understand correctly, he's basically saying we don't exactly know how these large language models work and why they're so good, but we're able to build them. And I don't necessarily think that means that that's not AGI because we don't fully understand it, but I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. So again, let's look at actually some of the things that Gary Marcus might be right about and thinking negatively about AI. So this is an article that he is quoting, December 17, 2023, "The rise of AI fake news is creating a misinformation super spreader." And I think this is probably the biggest risk of AI today. I know Sam Altman also agrees. I've heard him say this many times. But basically, if you can create unlimited content, both text, video, images, audio, you can trick a lot of people who don't know what AI's capabilities are. And the potential for mass misinformation is really concerning, especially with the US election coming up later this year. So this person, AI Safety Memes, has put together a list of quotes from an Elon Musk interview where he talks about AI, and here is the main part. Elon Musk, we're less than 3 years away from AGI. Now, Elon Musk has been known to over-exaggerate his timelines. Look at full self-driving. I'm not taking anything away from the incredible progress that Tesla has made towards full self-driving, but he also said that we would have complete full self-driving like 8 years ago. So keep that in mind. And he also continues on, "I'm quite concerned there's some dangerous element of AI they've discovered." And this is in reference to Ilya getting fired, or really Ilya starting a mutiny against Sam, Sam getting fired, and then really Ilya stepping out after Sam came back. And here's an important point. He doesn't worry about the copyright stuff much because by the time data copyright lawsuits are resolved, we'll have a digital god. AI is more dangerous than nuclear bombs. I was losing sleep over AI danger, then I got fatalistic about it and thought, well, if I knew annihilation was certain, would I choose to be alive? And the answer is yes. So back to this chart. Elon Musk is not on it, but he would probably be somewhere up in this top right corner. AGI is coming pretty soon, but it also can go very wrong. And by the way, the person who wrote this tweet is AI Safety Memes, and we can find that person up in the top right. AGI is coming soon, and it's going to go very wrong. And speaking of Ilya Sutskever, and as a reminder, he was one of the original founders of OpenAI. He was the one who started a mutiny against Sam Altman. Eventually, Sam Altman came back. Ilya had to step down from the board. It was a whole bunch of drama a few months ago. And Ilya seems to be on his way out. However, in this video, what we're going to see is him describe that he actually believes next token prediction, which is how LLMs work, transformers work, is probably enough for AGI. And it's going to be interesting to see what he says. Let's watch that now.
I challenge the claim that next token prediction cannot surpass human performance. It looks like on the surface it cannot. It looks on the surface, if you just learn to imitate, to predict what people do, it means that you can only copy people. But here is a counter argument for why it might not be quite so. If your base neural net is smart enough, you just ask it like, what would a person with like great insight and wisdom and capability do? Maybe such person doesn't exist, but there's a pretty good chance that the neural net will be able to extrapolate how such a person should behave. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, although where would it get the sort of insight about what that person would do, if not from
the data of regular people? Because like if you think about it, what does it mean to predict the next token well enough? What does it mean actually? It's a deeper question than it seems. Predicting the next token well means that you understand the underlying reality that led to the creation of that token. It's not statistics. Like, it is statistics, but what is statistics? In order to understand those statistics, to compress them, you need to understand what is it about the world that creates those statistics. And so then you say, okay, well, I have all those people. What is it about people that creates their behaviors? Well, they have, they have thoughts and they have feelings and they have ideas and they do things in certain ways. All of those could be deduced from next token prediction. And I'd argue that this should make it possible, not indefinitely, but to a pretty decent degree, to say, well, can you guess what you'd do if you took a person with like this characteristic and that characteristic? Like, such a person doesn't exist. But because you're so good at predicting the next token, you should still be able to guess what that person would do, this hypothetical, imaginary person with far greater mental ability than the rest of us.
Okay, so what do you think? Now, listening to this, he's basically saying if we can predict with such high accuracy what the next token will look like, what the next video frame will look like, isn't that enough to predict anybody? And isn't that enough to really have true general intelligence? And I tend to think he's right. There's probably better architectures out there than transformers to get us to the next stage of artificial intelligence, but just based on next token prediction, I believe that's enough for AGI. And here, one of the quotes is, predicting the next token well means that you understand the underlying reality that led to the creation of that token. And so Gary Marcus here says, hate to come down with Yann, and Yann and Gary have had so many arguments about open sourcing AI against Ilya, but Yann LeCun is right here and Ilya is not, except in some very shallow sense of the word understanding. And so I believe Gary Marcus thinks that current next token prediction is not enough for AI to understand the world. Okay, so a lot of people compare AI and specifically AGI to the atomic bomb and atomic weapons in general. So let's go to Mark Andreessen now and see what he thinks. Now, what he's describing here is that it's not like the atomic bomb. Let's assume for discussion that AI in 2024 is like atomic technology in 1943. That AI should therefore be handled like the Manhattan Project, and that the specific risk is that the Chinese Communist Party gains access to American AI. And let's use OpenAI as an example of American AI R&D facility. What counterintelligence capabilities does OpenAI have to prevent China from stealing our AI? He goes on to discuss a lot of processes and rigorous security to actually prevent theft of our IP, but they don't do that. And even if they had all of that, which the Manhattan Project did, the Russians eventually got the IP to build the atomic bomb from us anyways. They were able to spy their way into getting our information. So even with tight security, the Russians still got the atomic bomb from the US via their spies in the 1940s. And the first Russian atomic bomb is said to have been wire for wire compatible with the American Nagasaki bomb. So to protect AI, you need even tighter security. And remember, this is a civilizational threat. Is this what we see at OpenAI or any other American AI lab? No. And so that is his point. We're not seeing that at all. And he's basically taking a position that he doesn't really believe in, but he's taking the position to show how absurd the idea that AI is like the atomic bomb is. So his conclusion is obvious. OpenAI must be immediately nationalized. Now, he doesn't actually believe that. He is a big believer in open source AI, though. Okay, so his point is that OpenAI being closed and having all of this information is not the right approach. OpenAI being a commercial for-profit entity, having AGI, is not the right approach because they're not going to be able to protect it if, in fact, AGI were to spell our doom. And here we go. Elon Musk said it would certainly be easier for a state actor to steal their IP. So Elon Musk agrees. Then Eliezer says, the problem is not China. The problem is that if anyone builds ASI, everyone dies. So artificial singularity, I'm guessing, intelligence. But sure, all countries nationalizing their current AI leaders and establishing tight physical security would be a step in the right direction towards an international moratorium. So again, Eliezer is very about locking AI down. Here, Vinod Khosla of Khosla Ventures, a famed venture capitalist, invested in a ton of incredible companies, including OpenAI, 2P Marka, so that's Mark Andreessen and Elon Musk. AI in 2024 is way more than nuclear in 1943, or even today as explained here. And he actually wrote an entire blog post about why it's even more dangerous. Agree national cyber help and protection should be given and required for all state-of-the-art AI. AI is not just cyber defense, but also about winning economically and politically globally. The future of the world's values and political systems depend on it. So Vinod Khosla, with a stake in OpenAI, obviously believes OpenAI should continue and they are doing things the right way being closed. Now let's talk about Logan. So Logan is somebody who just left OpenAI, but he was the head of developer relations at OpenAI. And he just left, and this post of his came out after he left. Open source AI is a net win for developers, businesses, and humanity. Not a dig, and he followed up, not a dig on companies that don't open source. This doesn't mean that there aren't risks to open sourcing AI models. Openness is a spectrum. And this does not change my stance. I spent my early career doing open source. So very interesting that he left OpenAI and now he is saying open source is the best way to go. But he's doing something new. I'm not sure what it is, and I'm definitely going to follow along because I'm excited to hear what he's working on. Okay, so we talked about a lot of things, and we talked about a lot of people deep in the center of the AI world and what their thoughts are. And let's go back to, so let's just recap for a bit. We have Mark Andreessen up the top, and actually, who's this guy? This is Based Beth Jesus, and it's an anonymous account whose information actually was leaked by a news source, but he is the founder of the E/ACC movement, Effective Accelerationism. Basically, like I said before, morally, the only way to go forward is to accelerate into the future of technology, and he thinks AGI will be soon, and it won't go wrong. But it seems like this whole P-Doom thing is making its way to the mainstream. So here's CoffeeZilla talking about, can we stop AI?
Can we stop AI? That's the question a lot of us are asking ourselves right now. Concern about artificial intelligence in daily life far exceeds excitement today, as of 2023. That is a Pew Research poll, so you know we're doing science over here. Now, I've been talking to my friends about this lately. It's a fun topic of conversation. It's never been more exciting to ask, people, what do you think is going to happen in the next 5 years? The main reason being that the answer, we might die from killer robots, used to be a crazy point, and now it's like, interesting point, Dave. Little extreme, but maybe plausible.
Here's a poll from Pew Research about people's understanding and excitement versus concern about AI. So we can see that facial recognition technology by police is a good idea for society. Okay, so 46% there. Computer programs by social media companies to find false information, 38%. Driverless passenger vehicles, and that is actually, interestingly enough, a more majority a bad idea for society. And I disagree with that completely. If we provably show that mile for mile, driverless vehicles are better than human drivers, why would we not do that? That just seems like a no-brainer to me. And this is only 2 years ago. So this came out before ChatGPT and kind of the AI being a modern lexicon, or being in the modern lexicon, I should say. So here is the breakdown of more concerned, 37%, more excited, 18%, and equally concerned and as excited, 45%. I probably fall in the equally concerned and excited, but skewing more towards more excited. I tend to be a technology optimist. And interestingly enough, let's look at that pattern over time. So as we can see here, between 2022 and 2023, there was a huge jump of people who were more concerned about AI. Now, what happened in 2023? The end of 2022, the beginning of 2023, ChatGPT, and then everybody knew what the power of AI is. So that is what we're seeing right here, a huge jump in people being concerned, and understandably so. And here's a funny little meme I wanted to show by Kareem Carr. So we have AI scientists, they're setting up kind of like a scary haunted house. and then they get scared themselves when it actually becomes AGI. So I think that's pretty funny. The last thing I want to talk about is this letter. So this is an open letter from SV Angel, another venture capitalist, and Build AI for a Better Future. We call on everybody to build, broadly deploy, and use AI to improve people's lives and unlock a better future. And they're not really saying much. They're just asking for a signature, but there's not much that they're signing to. We, the undersigned, already are experiencing the benefits from AI and are committed to building AI that will contribute to a better future for humanity. Please join us. So we have the likes of Meta, Google, OpenAI, SV Angel, Microsoft, Salesforce, Y Combinator, Hugging Face, Mistral, Databricks, Gates Ventures, Scale AI. The list goes on and on. 11 ventures, or 11 labs, I should say. Character AI, Replit. So this is the who's who of AI companies and people. And they are really calling for open source, for everybody to deploy AI and for it not to be in a singular place. So really all they're committing to is that AI is going to benefit everybody. So not really a huge commitment. And I'm going to end with this funny video by Andrew Russo, and I'm going to play it, and it's hilarious because it shows what people outside of the world of AI are probably thinking right now about all this hubbub about AI.
AI is progressing so quickly, it's incredible. I know, I can't believe we got text prompts with ChatGPT, and images with Midjourney, and videos with Sora.
Yo, what's up, guys? Yo, this stuff is moving pretty fast.
It's all just so fast, but the trick is, how do we proceed forward with caution with this new technology?
Slow down.
Tell you, that is a doozy.
We could try slowing it down a little bit.
To limit momentum, has that even been done before? It's truly quite the conundrum, isn't it? I'm not really sure of the approach here.
You slow down?
This thing will eventually outpace all human effort and labor?
Okay, so everyone can like frolic and make art and stuff, right?
Artistic endeavor even just seems meaningless since AI can just do it better.
What?
If there was only some way that we could move with less speed.
Slow it down, please.
Well, everyone now can fulfill their dream of being a plumber or a cop. Wasn't my dream. I'm stumped.
Slow it down a tiny bit?
I got it.
Yes!
Stop hiring humans for now and then wait for robot AI slave labor to increase profits.
No!
That's genius.
Can we maybe like fix like printer software, firmware stuff?
Oh my god, I'm pretty sure AGI just dropped. Hey, do you think we should not stop, but
Slow. Slow.
What's the word?
Slow.
Tip of the tongue.
Slow.
Slow.
Yes! Yo,
Slow it down.
slow it down. That's what I've been saying the whole time. You know, slow it down, prioritize like safety and stuff like that, and then we can.
More slow means less money. I mean, come on, we're innovators. Plus, if we stop now, our competitors will take over, and then think about all the innocent
People?
shareholders. Stock price must go hockey stick. We'll just give the poor some FDVR sex bots and they'll be happy.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey, no. What?
I deeply care about humanity.
Hey, yo, slow it down.
I deeply care about humanity.
Hey, yo, slow down.
The only bargaining tool the working class has is their labor now that it doesn't exist.
Oh, dang.
They kind of don't either. And there's no need for consumers since we own everything. Wow, look at us.
Guys, we're gonna have to rewind this whole thing. Like,
Really just hope this new super intelligent AI just doesn't go rogue on us. Seems like a shitty version of the Matrix.
it's okay because we have land and resources,
and everyone else is a neo-feudal peasant. I prefer the term non-augmented drone trash monkeys, not real people like us.
this is crazy. This is nuts.
And if they become disruptive or try to revolt, they'll be vaporized. Wait, what? Well, either that, or...
Obedience simulation failed. 25 years added to consciousness sentence.
If you liked this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.